G'day guys, so today we are talking about an exercise called sword draws. Another way to think of it is that it is a lateral raise with a single arm off a cable that's coming in front of your body. Okay, so what are we looking to do with this particular exercise? Well, we're going to go through exactly the same way that we would set up for a normal, say, dumbbell lateral raise. However, obviously we're going off one arm, so we can then use this rack or stack as a stable point to create as much stability as we possibly can. And we know that stability, tension, execution, and tracking performance at the very end, our acronym STEP, is the best way to grow some muscle. So stability will create, what we know about stability is that if we can pull from a stable base, we're going to recruit more muscle fibers and create more tension. Tension is obviously a hypertrophy principle, and then we want to make sure that we're executing perfectly. So with the execution of this lift, what we are looking to do is start with the weight directly in front of us. Now, because of the axis in which this weight is loaded, so it's working in a horizontal plane, we actually can start all the way back down here and come all the way up, so we get a nice big range of motion. Now I'm just going to start a little lighter. All right, so because we're going to be using our full body, we want to make sure that we are locking our knees out, our toes can't raise, and our hips are locked in. And the reason why we want to do this is so that we avoid using momentum and a swinging factor like so. If we start to use momentum and start to swing, then all of a sudden we start taking tension away from that working muscle, and we start to so what we're aiming to do is accumulate over a long period of time. If we are, say, accumulating and using momentum and only stimulating the muscle, let's say 85% out of 100, versus staying rigid, staying nice and stable and nice and tall, we might recruit that muscle fiber at 95%. Obviously, the accumulation over a long period of time, you are going to be a 10%, 20%, maybe not 20, but you're going to be a 10% better athlete. So we want to keep rigid, keep stability, keep nice and strong, tall, lock these knees out, and so and obviously pull from the right area. Speaking of pulling for the right area, what we need to understand about this exercise is that we're very much targeting the medial head of our deltoid. Now, what do we know about this muscle? Well, the medial head's the middle head, and it inserts onto our arm just about here and originates just about there. Okay, so that's not a very, very large amount of space for it needing to travel. Right? I'm going to get full contraction of this exercise at about this point here. Okay, not so much higher, not so much lower. Right? So just about that point, my medial head is very much at its full capacity of tension. Once I go a little higher, then you can see that my trap wants to come in. So pulling your shoulder blades back and down and coming to here, that's roughly where your end range you want to be. This muscle isn't a big muscle. Okay, it's not big at all. So we need to think all we need to do is contract this muscle so this point here goes to that point there. That's all. All right, so large amounts of weight are really, really not necessary with this exercise, and when you create your stability and tension, you'll find that potentially your weight will plummet down. But if you execute over a prolonged period of time, your shoulders will grow at a rapid rate. So let's set up. We're going to pull our shoulder blades back and down. We're going to lock our knees out nice and strong through the legs, glutes on, so we can't get up onto the toes, we can't use these knees, or we can't shift through the weight, through the hips. Okay, now with this hand, you can do one or two things. One, you can just sort of go on your hip, or two, you can come up and hold the rack. I like to hold the rack just because of the fact that it's just a stable, sturdy base to start from. Now, the reason why we call these sword draws is if you think about it, I'm back in the medieval time, sword, pull out, on guard, carry on, carry on. Right, so we're going to finish at the opposite leg. Shoulder blades back and down, and we're coming up and slightly forward. Remember, our shoulder joint is geared so it wants to travel slightly forward. If we come out and flap like a bird, okay, it's not going to run as smoothly as it possibly can, and you might feel some just uncomfortable, not grinding, but won't feel quite right. But if you come slightly forward, you're going to free that joint up, and it's going to feel actually really, really smooth. So we're looking to come out slightly forward, okay, rather than being flapping like a bird. So again, shoulder blades back and down. Start at the opposite leg. Lock those feet. Lock those knees. Glutes on. Okay, come up, out, one. Again, shoulder blade back and down. That first one was a poor example. And this is how you want to go about doing your saw draws. Right, team, that there is how you want to go about doing your saw draws or lateral raises coming in the front, or however it is you want to word them. All right, team, enjoy.